So for this video, I'm going to be discussing my November TBR, all of the books that I plan to read in the month of November. My November TBR, it has one kind of giant book and then like 8 or so books that are normal length. So hopefully I can get to all of them, and I'll explain my reasoning for why I want to read all of them, and you know the drill by now. So let's just go ahead and jump right into it. So let's go ahead and start with some Discord buddy reads and read-alongs, because over on the Bookish Discord, we always have a ton of those. So let's go ahead and jump right into those. The first one I'll mention here is the Stephen King Book Club. We started in October with Under the Dome, which had varying results. Some people really loved it. Some people thought it was okay. Some people definitely agree with me that the ending is kind of bad. But it was fun to get people's reactions to it, so it was worth it. For November, however, we're going to be doing a classic that I anticipate a lot of people very much enjoying, either doing it for the first time if you want to, or rereading it, whichever. And that would be The Shining, by Stephen King, of course. But anyway, we're doing The Shining in November, and then, of course, we're going to be doing Doctor Sleep, the sequel, in December. So definitely, if you want to either check this out for the first time, which would be a lot of fun, or if you want to do a reread with us, definitely a good time of year to be doing both The Shining and Doctor Sleep. So that's what we're going to be doing for the Stephen King Book Club. Also, just a general announcement, we did find out that Stephen King's new book is coming out in May, which me and Ian predicted. So we'll be doing something later on, kind of definitively saying what the schedule is for next year, 2025, for the Stephen King Book Club. It does come out in late May, but still, I anticipate a lot of us are gonna want to binge it the first couple of days that it's released. So we're gonna still keep with the same schedule that we had. So, we'll update y'all with that sooner rather than later. But yeah, The Shining is gonna be for November. Definitely check it out if you want to with us. We also have the Ray Bradbury Book Club going along. We just did The October Country, which is one of my all-time personal favorites from Ray Bradbury. And now we're going to be jumping into one of his best-known novels for November, Something Wicked, This Way Comes. Definitely one of my favorites, and a lot of other people's favorites as well. So again, if you want to either read this for the first time with us, or if you want to check this out on a reread, this will be a reread for me. I've read it a couple times now. It's really good. It also would have been a good pick for October, but like, come on, The October Country, I had to have that for October. But this one, it's still in the fall and spooky season, so it still fits. It's got a lot of themes of like nostalgia, and a carnival comes to town, but obviously this is Ray Bradbury's like horror novel, so some spooky stuff happens, but it's really good. Definitely check it out if you haven't already, or if you want to reread it with us. So Something Wicked, This Way Comes, Ray Bradbury Book Club. We've also been doing the Legends of the First Empire read-along by Michael J. Sullivan. We've been doing that since like June, I think. And now, for November, we're going to be reading the final book, Book 6, Age of Empire, in November. And like I've said, this is one of my all-time favorite fantasy series. Can't really discuss it too much because it's the final book in the series, but like, it's got a very fantastic conclusion to the story, in my opinion, and yeah, it's just so good. I'm actually still in the middle of my reread of Age of Death for October. Very good as well. But yeah, Book 6, I'm glad some people have been joining us for it, and yeah, definitely one of my favorite fantasy series. We're going to be reading Age of Empire in November. We also have our Thrill, Chill, or Kill book club pick for the month of November. Every month we pick kind of a random thriller, mystery, horror book to read every month on the Discord as a buddy read. And the pick for November is going to be Good Girls Don't Die by Christina Henry. And I'll be honest, I really don't know anything about this book. That's kind of how I prefer to do thrillers anyway. I was trying to think if I've read a Christina Henry book, but I don't think so. I do own Near the Bone, but I don't believe I've read anything by her. So this will be a first for me. But yeah, I've heard good things about this book and author, so definitely excited to check this out. Let me know down below if you've read any Christina Henry, and let me know what you thought about it, or if you've read this book. Let me know. But yeah, that's our pick for November, so check it out if you want to check it out with us. I also have my Patreon pick for November, and if you guys don't know, I do have a Patreon that you can join for as little as $1 a month, and every month I put every member of my Patreon in a wheel spin, and every month I spin it, and I pick a winner, and the winner gets to pick any book that they want me to read in that month. So the winner for November is actually my wife Stacy's sister, Lisa, and the book that she really wants me to read is The Glass Castle by Jeanette Walls. Now, I really don't know too much about this book. All I know is that it's nonfiction, which I don't really read enough of. I do love nonfiction, I just don't read it as much as fiction. But I do know that it's supposed to be a very sad and heart wrenching memoir. I don't really know anything about this person or their life, so I'm going to jump into it not really knowing a whole lot, but I'm assuming I'm going to really enjoy it for what it is. But yeah, that's her pick, so I'm definitely going to be reading this in November. Also, another thing that I do on the Discord is a random number generator game where I do a random number between 1 and 100, and all of my Discord members get to pick or guess a random number, and whoever's the closest or gets the number correctly first, they get to pick a book from my Goodreads TBR for me to read the following month. And I don't remember who the winner is, but they picked this book, Perfume, The Story of a Murderer. And I've had this book on my TBR and my physical TBR for at least a year, if not a couple of years. It's supposed to be a classic, just good horror book. I'll be honest, I don't really know too much about it. All I know is that it's supposed to be pretty gruesome and deadly and just a classic. But again, I don't really know too much about it. But yeah, it'll be fun to jump into, not really knowing a whole lot, and hopefully I like it. We'll see. Also, the winner was Free Mind Writing, aka Helena? Don't really know how to pronounce it, but that's who the winner was, and they picked Perfume, so hopefully I enjoy it. We shall see. And at the beginning of the video, I mentioned a super long book that I need to get to, and a lot of these other books are very short, but this one will take some time to get to. It's a reread. You guys can probably guess what it is based off of the books that I've recently been reading. It's Rhythm of War by Brandon Sanderson, book 4 in the Stormlight Archive. I've given all of the books 5 stars, but this one was probably my least favorite. It didn't really have a very compelling, every book kind of has flashback chapters. The first book was Kaladin, the second book was Shallan, the third book was Dalinar. The fourth book, it has some flashback chapters, I think, from a few POVs. They're not really my favorites, so that's kind of what keeps this book from being on the same level as those 3 books, because I love all the books, and this book definitely has some fantastic stuff. But, if I had to pick, this is probably my least favorite. It also kind of hurts that it's the longest. It's 57, 58 hours on audio. Good Lord, Sanderson. But yeah, I'm definitely going to be reading this in November in anticipation of book 5, Wind and Truth, coming out in December, which when that book comes out, when I get the audiobook, that's basically going to be my life for a few, I was going to say a few days, but probably more like a week, because those books are super long and they keep getting longer somehow. So that book is probably going to be 60 hours. I don't know. Break a record or something. But yeah, definitely Rhythm of War. I'm going to be trying to read in November. It's a task, but I'm going to do it. Editing Jake here. I just wanted to quickly mention that my October reading has been going very, very well. So good, in fact, that I'm actually in the middle of Rhythm of War. I have enough time to actually finish the damn book in October. I've got 400 some pages left. So I'm definitely going to finish it in October, which leaves me a lot more room for my November TBR, because now I don't have to read this chunky book in November. So now really I only have 8 books in November, which leaves me potentially more room for mood reading. So just wanted to update y'all on that. And then I've got just a couple of random books that I would love to get to. I also kind of try to do a random number generator based off of my unread books, my unread physical TBR stuff that's on my bookshelves that I really want to get to so I can kind of create some room for more books for me and my wife, Stacy. So a couple of the books that I would love to get to, and these are kind of the books that if I don't get to, it's not really that big a deal, but I'd still love to get to them. One of them would be The Company Man by Robert Jackson Bennett. I've read 2 of his fantasy trilogies. I really haven't read anything besides those. And he before he started kind of writing a lot of fantasy, he wrote kind of some horror and some historical fiction stuff. I think The Company Man, I really just picked this book because it was a chunky book, and I want to try to get through a lot of those just to create some room on the shelf. So I'll be honest, I don't really know too much about it. Maybe I can look it up real quick. It does say it's sci-fi, mystery, fantasy, steampunk, alternate history, noir. So I feel like this book is it's going to be all over the place. I don't really know too much about it. It says the year is 1919, so it's definitely historical. So I'll jump into it. I'm not expecting too much with this book, but who knows? It could be a new favorite. We'll see. Have you read this book? I doubt it, but let me know if you have. And then the other book that I would really love to get to is Lone Woman by Victor Lavelle. I've read a few of his books now and one of his novellas. The Changeling is still one of my all-time favorite kind of literary horror books. Very interesting, very out there. He's definitely an author that I want to go back and read all of his stuff. And I believe this book either came out this year or maybe last year. I actually tried to read it earlier this year, but I just kind of wasn't in the right headspace and the right mood for it. But now I want to go back and try to read it, knowing what it is. And yeah, I think I'm going to have a good time with it. I don't know if it's going to be like an all-time favorite, but definitely excited to check it out at least. All right, so that was a loud clap. So those are the 9 books that I would love to get to in the month of November. And just as a recap, we have The Shining for the Stephen King Book Club, and then also Dr. Sleep for December, the sequel. We have Something Wicked This Way Comes by Ray Bradbury for the Ray Bradbury not the short story, the Ray Bradbury Book Club, because we're not just doing collections, we're doing all the stuff. We have Rhythm of War by Brandon Sanderson, book 4 of the Stormlight Archive, my epic reread of that before book 5 comes out. Age of Empire, the last book in Legends of the First Empire read-along. That's the last book in the series. We have Perfume, the story of a murderer, which was chosen for me by Free Mind Writing. Helena, whatever your name is, that they wanted me to read this book. We have The Company Man by Robert Jackson Bennett. Random book, no idea if I'll love it or hate it, but I'm going to try it. We have Good Girls Don't Die by Christina Henry, which is our Thrill, Chill, or Kill book club pick for November. Again, I don't really know anything about it, but we're gonna give it a go. We have Lone Women by Victor Lavelle, which again, just a random book that I'd love to get to. And then lastly, but not least, we have The Glass Castle by Jeanette Walls. And this is my Patreon pick for the month of November, which was chosen again by my wife, Stacy's sister, Lisa. This is her pick. I'm thinking I'm gonna really enjoy it, but who knows? But yeah, so those are the 9 books that I'd love to get to, love to fit into November. If I can read more, that'd be great. But usually by this time, like late October, November, that's kind of peak season for the post office. So I'm guessing my days are gonna start to be a lot longer, and probably people are gonna start to take vacation, so I'm going to be working a lot more. So will I be able to read all these books? We'll see. I don't know, but I'm going to try my best. Definitely let me know what you guys think of this video. Definitely let me know what you guys think of these books. Have you read any of them? Are you going to be reading them with us? Because a lot of these books are going to be buddy reads and read-alongs over on the Bookerstromer Discord. So let me know down below what your plans are for any of these books. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. And like I mentioned, I've got my Patreon where you can support me for as little as $1 a month. And you get, basically a chance to pick any book that you want me to read. It can be any book. I also got my Amazon wish list if you'd like to buy me a book. I really don't need any more, but if you want to throw me a bone, I'll take it. Thank you guys so much for watching and have a fantastic day.